In today's show, Regina makes a southwestern version of an old Tuscan favorite, Riboletta, and a savory homemade herb cheese on crunchy crostini. Guest chef Michael O'Dowd makes a classic Italian timbale featuring potatoes, peppers, and goat cheese. Today's maple nut smoothie is so tasty, the kids will never know it's good for them. Wine expert David Berkeley makes his selection of the week.
It's a beautiful sunny morning in Arizona, but pretty soon we're going to have some frost on the ground, so I decided to focus on some comfort food, cold weather food. And today we're going to be making a southwestern version of an old Tuscan favorite, which is called riboletta. Now, riboletta is a peasant soup. It relies on inexpensive ingredients that hold, that last. First of all is beans, and you can use a white bean, a navy bean, cannelli bean, really any kind you wish. Today we're going to be using a navy bean. Also, it uses cabbage and some celery and onion, and our departure from the Tuscan classic is the addition of these sun-drenched flavors. We're using chili peppers, we're going to use some fresh corn that we've just cut off the cob, and also put in a little roasted garlic. So this will end up intrinsically a very different soup. However, it will have all of the comfort of the original. First, let's start out by using, in this case, I want a really saturated vegetable flavor, so we're going to use some vegetable bouillon cubes, which are readily available at the supermarket. We use about 4 of them, and we have 6 cups of water in there. And there's debate as to whether or not we need to soak the beans. For a dish like this, I just toss them in as is. So we'll start out with a cup of navy beans. We already have our bouillon cubes in there. And celery. We have about a cup of celery and 1 large onion, finely diced, some roasted garlic, taking the lazy man's way today, about 1.5 teaspoons, let's say 2 teaspoons of roasted garlic that's already been finely minced. Let that get going, and finally some heat. And we'll cut this up finely, and it should end up with about, we could end up with about 1.5 tablespoons to 2 tablespoons of peppers in this one. So we'll toss this in, and finally some cumin, and we're going to let this go. After we clear this off, we're going to start on our next dish, which is also peasant in origin. We're going to be using leftover bread, which we've turned into crostini, and then we'll be topping it with something like a boursin. It's a homemade farmer's cheese made with cottage cheese, which is readily available. Now, this is a little bit different kind of crostini than what you've had before, I'm sure, because there's going to be a secret ingredient that really makes it special. First of all, we'll take cottage cheese. You can do non-fat, high-fat, any kind of cottage cheese you would have on hand. And we're going to run it through some cheesecloth here. Just squeeze it to get the moisture out. There we go. Right there. And you can strain it overnight if you wish, but if you want to put this together at the last minute, as you can see, it's not a big deal. Just squeeze the moisture out till we get a little bit drier mixture. Okay, so we'll turn this out of the cheesecloth, and then we're going to pulse it in a food processor. And let's get these things set aside, and it's one of those days. We'll use a food processor for this, and if you have one that has the little basket on top, that's fine. We don't have a lot of contents here, so this'll work. And you can put garlic in if you wish, but because of the other things we're pairing it with, I'm not going to put any garlic in this particular farmer's cheese. And we'll use about, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And let's see, some freshly ground black pepper. And what's going to give it its special flavor is herb de Provence. Now, if you don't have herb de Provence, you can use any combination of your favorite Italian seasonings. Herb de Provence is nice. It has a little special twist with the lavender that's in it. So here we'll put a fair amount, about 1 teaspoon of herb de Provence in here. And I'll pulse it. You want it nice and creamy. These farmer's cheese are really fun to fool with. You can make sweet varieties and have them inside crepes, for example, for a Sunday brunch, or like this, herbs. You can do a hot and spicy version. Pretty much any kind of ethnic twist you'd like on them. Very inexpensive, very simple. In contrast, another option is if you don't want to do that, you can use, this is a lovely cheese. It's a boursin, any kind of an herb soft white cheese. you can use. This one has garlic in it, however, and for this particular dish, I'd rather not have garlic. So let's start putting these crostini together. So with the crostini, these are really simple to make. You take any bread left over from the night before, slice it thinly, brush a little olive oil on it, and bake it in a fairly hot oven for just about 5 to 10 minutes until it's golden and firm all the way through. And we'll put a little bit of our herbed farmer's cheese on here. And then our secret ingredient, which is a little bit of homemade fig jam. You've probably seen this combination of flavors before when you've seen roasted or grilled fruits. Often they'll put a sprig of rosemary or whatnot on it. So here we're going to put just a little bit of fresh fig preserves and a slice of a nice crunchy Gala apple on top. A little different. It makes a wonderful hors d'oeuvre, and it's really good served with a light canali or champagne. So I won't do any more of these right now. We're going to instead finish up the Riboletta, Southwestern style. And the hallmark of the Riboletta is that you serve it over crouton. What a day! And the hallmark of our Southwestern style Riboletta is that you take, again, day-old bread. This is wonderful. You use up lots of old bread in today's recipes. And you cut them into little pieces, crouton size, whichever size you like. And again, go through the process. You don't need to put olive oil on them, but bake them until they're crunchy. And then ladle the soup over the bread. And that's at the base. And just a little bit more of the liquid. And as you can see, along the way, we had added the cabbage and the corn, and you only want to cook that for a few minutes. And then finishing touches here, because it's Southwestern style, we can either add just a little splash of tequila. Italian style, I like to add a little splash of brandy on top. I think I'll stay with the brandy for this one. Just a little bit, which you're going to stir in as you consume it. And then finally, a little bit of Parmesan cheese. And in this case, we're using a non-dairy Parmesan cheese. It's a rice-based Parmesan. It has a wonderful flavor. And there we go, our classic Tuscan soup. And coming up next, we have some wonderful Southwestern recipes from Enfuego. In today's healthful libation, we're going to pack it with all sorts of nutrients. We've been talking as the weeks have gone on about certain options you have for making your designer health smoothies. Today we're going to pretty much load it all in there, and it's all going to be buried under the flavor of maple and walnuts. So we'll start out with some milk, any kind of milk you choose. I always go with the plant-based milk. It can be either nut milk, rice milk, soy milk. And we'll use a half of a ripe banana. And we'll go for a generous handful of walnuts, fresh organic walnuts. We have about 3 tablespoons worth here. And this one will have protein powder. This will have about 30 grams of protein just in 1 scoop of this whey powder. And we're going to put a tablespoon or 2 of acidophilus culture in here. Very good for the immune system and keeping your intestinal tract in order. And then omega-3s and 6s for the brain, for the cells, for the organic functioning of the body. You need to have those essential fatty acids, and they're hard to get in the regular diet unless you eat a lot of cold water fish. And also for the immune system, about a half a teaspoon of calcium ascorbate, which is vitamin C, but this one you can't taste. Ascorbic acid is tart, you don't want to put that in here. And we'll put some ice cubes in. And finally, some maple flavoring, just to pump up that maple flavor. Oddly enough, even though I've added all this, surprisingly, you really can't taste this in here once you get all these wonderful flavors in. For our sweetener today, we're going to use maple syrup, and I use a grade C maple syrup, which is my favorite. We also have sweet coming from the banana. Actually, let me put this over here. You're going to find that you don't taste all of those healthful ingredients at all. That should about do it. And I love the scent of this one. Love the maple in it. And here we go. How to slip nutrients in on the kids without their ever knowing. And I'm here now with Michael O'Dowd, a nice Irish name, and you're with En Fuego, which means on fire, and you're going to set us on fire with this fabulous timbale today. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, what we're going to do here is a roast potato and vegetable timbale. So we're going to saute the potatoes, and we're going to assemble it, and it's going to be really good.
Good. We got a lot of great ingredients. So why don't we go ahead and get started? I think we start with the sautéing.
Right. We're going to start sautéing these potatoes here. So we're just putting a little bit of olive oil in here. Extra virgin is what I like to use.
All right.
A little bit more is fine. It will soak up all the starch from the potato. So we'll let this get hot.
Where do we start with this?
Okay. We're going to start with just placing these slivers and nice slices of potato in the pan here.
So I take it this is our first layer, which will give it a little form?
Well, actually, yeah, you can layer it any way you want, which is great about this mold. But the first process is to get these nice and translucent. So when we do chill it, it blends all together and the mold comes together. We're just kind of moving around here while we're sauteing it. It takes about 2 to 3 minutes just to cook these potatoes.
Okay. We'll take a couple minutes.
Just to touch a little salt in here, kosher salt.
And now, why do you prefer kosher salt? I
like
know
the
every
way-
chef has their own reasons for using certain types of salt.
I think it's a real nice, clean essence that you get from kosher salt, and it hits the taste buds in a real nice way that I think works with our cooking.
I find it a little bit softer.
Softer,
as well.
right? Exactly. Okay, that's just about ready. We're going to re-cook this mold after it's been chilled, so all right, let's place that over here to rest. In the same pan, which is nice, we'll start with just a little bit of garlic here. We'll add our shiitake mushrooms, julienne green peppers, julienne red pepper. We're just going to cook this down a little bit. Toss it, keeping it moving in the pan. Okay, and we're going to add our sun-dried tomatoes.
And these will be getting moisture during the baking process, right?
Well, actually, we're going to saute the mold when it's done.
Okay.
But right now, it's loosening up and it's being rehydrated, as you say. Yeah.
Anything I can hand you?
Well,
Do you
I'm
need
gonna
anything,
I'm gonna
Chef?
cut up this basil here,
Okay.
kind of a chiffonade style.
Oh yes, show us how you
Yeah.
do your
We
chiffonade
just
style.
Well, we just kind of bunch it up like this, and then we simply just go right through it in a shredding type of a motion.
You need a really sharp knife.
Right.
No serrated knives for this
No
one.
serrated knife, and it comes out in a shredded form. There, so we'll just add that. Okay, we have all of our ingredients in, and we're just gonna saute this down. Just gonna add just a touch more extra virgin olive oil.
A lot of scents coming together.
All right, that looks about ready right there.
Okay.
We're gonna just rest these vegetables in that glass. Now, the assembly of the mold.
Okay, now's the fun part. We get to put it together.
Yeah, now we're ready to build it. Build our mold. Let's grab a spoon here. That's okay if you use your fingers with this. We're just gonna start with our potatoes and just kind of line the tureen or the mold right here. Then we're gonna
This is
take
beautiful.
these wonderful vegetables and just kind of press them on top of the potato. And then our little goat cheese. Just a little goat cheese, just kind of simply put it in anywhere you want, crumbled. It's gonna all be coming together once it's pressed and sat overnight. Then we go another layer of the potatoes. So you're kind of layering the potatoes and the vegetables and the goat cheese. That's the whole idea of this mold, spreading it out. And
This looks yummy.
and these molds can be found at most every culinary store or shop.
Can you do this in a large mold as well?
You can do
Just
this in a
anything you
tureen
wish?
mold.
Yes.
Yeah, you can do it in a rectangular tureen mold as well. Okay, so we're just gonna take our plastic wrap and just fold it over the top like that, pressing it down slightly. Kind of over like this. Then over
Get
like
the perfect mold.
Right. There. Now all we need is a nice weight
I
to put on
found
top.
something.
There it
Just the
is.
right size thing. Look at
That's
that.
perfect.
Okay.
And what we're gonna do is place this weighted, beautiful glass in the refrigerator for 6 hours
Okay.
to overnight.
Or overnight. All
Right.
right. Sounds good. Now, because we don't want to keep these people waiting overnight while we do this, you've already prepared one.
I
We're
have.
going to see what happens
I
next.
have. Here it is.
And this is what it
finished
looks like
product.
after 6 hours. Beautiful.
That's right, it all comes together. Now we're ready to saute our mold. A little bit of olive oil in this pan. Here it's starting to
This is
sizzle.
going to be really yummy.
And the idea is just to kind of brown it slowly and bring it up to temperature so we can have that goat cheese kind
Melted
of slowly-
inside.
Right.
And as that's sauteing, maybe you can give us a little explanation of what's going on here.
Okay. These are just garnishes. This is sweet potato that's been fried in vegetable oil, as well as horseradish root. And what we're going to do is toss some salad greens together and assemble this nice little plate.
And this is
on
our
top of
serving
our
platter.
fringe.
This
Right.
is beautiful.
Right.
This. Oh, look at. Did you know his tail wagged, or is it just loose?
It's supposed to do
Oh,
that.
it is supposed to.
Right,
Oh, this is
right.
so cute.
Okay, we're just gonna keep sauteing this. I'll turn this over, and it's okay if it, a little bit if it falls apart a little bit. It's gonna mush together anyway. So.
Bed of
Salad.
greens.
Right.
And you need the greens now, don't
Yes.
you? Let's put
Yes.
this here while you do that.
Okay, we're just gonna toss a little bit of the greens out of this bowl.
We
Fresh
have some
greens.
sprouts in here as well.
Right, radish sprouts.
Love
and
radish sprouts.
Some leeks are tossed in there, just a little bit more. This is a real simple salad here because all we're gonna do is just a little kosher salt again, little black pepper, cracked black pepper, little olive oil, and then a little balsamic vinegar, aged balsamic vinegar. I'm just gonna kind of shoot that right in there like that, and then toss it. And we'll start our plating.
This is one of the most unique plates I have seen. If you would, platings, maybe I should say, platings I have seen.
Right, we're just gonna kind of mound those in the center of our turtle.
This is beautiful.
Let the greens go everywhere. There's some watercress in there we want to get on there. All right,
I'll whisk this away
Thank
for
you.
you.
and now we'd like to use cucumbers, for kind of a backdrop, and these are seedless cucumbers that we kind of put in there.
I can see
Just
carrying
like
this one to
that.
the table.
It could be tough. And then we're just gonna slide our potato mold right on top. I mean, in fact, you can just invert it, and it just simply goes right on top.
Now, you were telling me off camera, this can also be baked if you wish, right?
This can be baked as well.
Just brush it with olive oil?
Brush it
or-
with olive oil, about 15 minutes in the oven, 350 degrees.
Okay.
And then we have just some plum tomatoes here.
For a little bit of color.
Right, a little color.
This is
You always want
beautiful.
to do something with color. And shape is something we try to do at the restaurant. We have yellow tomatoes too that we just kind of put over here. Then we have some carrots.
Make a little confetti
Right,
around the
little
plate.
confetti, some cucumber.
This is beautiful.
And then we're almost there. Just kind of toss them in.
It's not the end yet. We have another dish to
Right. Okay, so now we have our nice color in there,
Beautiful.
reds and yellows and oranges. But we're gonna top this off with even something more. We're gonna top this off with fried sweet
go.
potatoes.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about those.
And we're just gonna take a little bit of these, just for a little bit more of a crunch factor to go with the warm goat cheese. Put this together real nice. And just kind of stack them up like that. And for a little added bonus, we have horseradish root.
Right,
It's
I was
actually-
tasting that. It really tastes wonderful.
Yeah, we'll just kind of lean this across like this. And any way is fine. Straight up like that. And
Is that,
voila.
does that belong on this as well?
Well, if you want to use a roast red pepper coulis, you can as well. And we have a lot going on the plate. You just want to take it and kind of squirt it around the plate, maybe a little bit up on your mold right
Ooh,
there.
now that
and
is a
that's-
party on a plate.
That's it.
Beautiful. Okay, we'll whisk this away and we're ready for recipe number 2.
Great.
Oh, and now we have a lovely tapenade coming up, which is incredibly versatile.
It certainly is.
As we go along, we'll tell you what you can serve it with, but we
Okay.
need this, and we're going to start with what?
Spanish olives. Start with Spanish olives. So we're just going to take our full bowl and we're just going to start adding the ingredients pretty much all together as long as they blend. And we'll just kind of pop them right in there. And then we'll be adding our olive oil at the end just to smooth them all together. Then we're going to go with Kalamata olive, which is kind of a twist to this tapenade.
How long does a fresh tapenade last if you keep it refrigerated?
Shelf life for at least 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, and even longer. I mean, but 2 to 3 weeks I would keep it and serve it, keep that fresh flavor going on there. Garlic.
I can help you if you'd like me to pass something over to you.
All right.
And what now?
Red peppers.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you. Just a couple red pepper. You don't normally find this in a tapenade,
No, you
but
don't.
it gives a little bit of different flavor from the pepper.
A little freshness, makes it bright.
Freshness,
a little
makes
bright.
some color in there. Capers.
Capers.
Yes, we're gonna put those in there. Yes,
Can I
onions.
take a guess at the
Spanish.
next one?
Oh, I told you already. I'm sorry. These are Spanish onions.
Can you use any garden variety of onion though?
Yes, you can.
All
Sweet onion, Bermuda, Vidalia.
And
Then we're going to finish off with basil leaves. I'm just pick out some good leaves here. Just simply throw them in there.
And you don't want to
They're
go
fresh.
too heavy on the basil,
No,
right?
just a couple of leaves because you're just
Be
wanting
overwhelming pretty
accent.
fast.
Right. Now our last. Oh, you've already
It's not
started.
supposed to be on.
Here we go. Let's start
ahead.
it. Let's start it up. Turn her on. We'll slowly drizzle our olive oil in here. So we have the last ingredient would be a little bit of lemon juice.
And
that's
you
all.
mean just a little bit.
That's all you
Just a
need.
couple tablespoons.
Exactly. Let it come together,
Smells fabulous.
and it's ready. That's it.
Okay, let's get this off of here. Would you like to spoon some over into that little bowl?
Absolutely. Spoon right here. This is the flavor, and you can smell it. Those Spanish olives coming out.
And this is really versatile. You can serve it with a lot of different dishes.
You certainly can. One of the best ones to use it with would be grilled vegetables.
And also, we can put it very simply on a crostini.
Certainly can.
We'll do that. And as we're getting ready to put a little bit on our crostini over here, we're going to go to David Berkeley, who will tell us what he would serve with your timbale.
Regina, I definitely need a taste of this dish. It has several distinctive ingredients that would prefer, I think, a distinctive white wine. Peppers, basil, and goat cheese would no doubt be enhanced by a Sauvignon Blanc and its herbal character. But on the other hand, potatoes, shiitake mushrooms, garlic, shallots, and sun-dried tomatoes, well, I think that swings the vote to red wines. And when you have the accompanying tapenade, I think it definitely puts it in the red wine camp. So I'm going to suggest that we try Cabernet Franc. Now, Cabernet Franc is a grape variety that is, well, it's overshadowed by Cabernet Sauvignon. It's best represented in France by maybe the illustrious Chateau Cheval Blanc in Saint-Emilion. But it also produces wine in the Loire Valley, and there they make wines called Chinon. I think this style is more appropriate for this dish. It's lighter in color, it's lighter in tannins, and it has a juicy, almost peppery flavor. Now, there are other Cabernet Franc that are being produced, and some of the best representatives of this style are now coming from the New World, from California, from New Zealand, and from New York. So try Cabernet Franc, not Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc. I think it'll be perfect with this dish.
Michael, we love the tapenade, and I think you've given a lot of us the courage to try a timbale because it's always looked intimidating, although it's just a matter of taking a little time with it. Let it sit overnight and the rest is a piece of cake, as you have proven here.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Until next time, Santé.
Santé.
To find out more about Regina's vegetarian table, visit our PBS online website at pbs.org.